Now in Futuris, European researchers at the front line in the battle against AIDS. Frankfurt, the financial capital of Germany. The city has one of the highest percentages of HIV infections and patients with AIDS in the country. The estimated total of HIV-infected people in Germany, Austria and Switzerland is around 80,000. The UK has 68,000. This is low compared with the worldwide figure of 40 million, but EU leaders are becoming increasingly concerned about the rise in rates of infection. Carmen had no thought of AIDS when she had sex with her boyfriend at the age of 19. He was her first partner and she did not know he was HIV positive. Neither did he.
Up to this point, I'm fine, thank goodness, but one day I will have to begin treatment, and then I'll have to start taking drugs.
Doctors regularly monitor the level of Carmen's T cells, one of the cells that fight off infections in her blood. There is nothing else they can do at this stage. What worries them is that more and more cases like Carmen's are being diagnosed as AIDS begins to affect Europe's heterosexual population.
The majority of the people infected with HIV are homosexual men, but we do see an increasing number of patients who do not belong to this high-risk group. We particularly see more and more young women who got infected by their sexual partners without knowing it. This means the virus disease is spreading more and more outside the high-risk groups.
What makes HIV so dangerous is that it infects cells in the human immune system, such as helper T cells. As the number of these cells decline, the body becomes progressively more susceptible to infections. Eventually, the number of immune system cells are so depleted, the body cannot protect itself, the condition called AIDS. In this research laboratory in Rixensau in Belgium, scientists search for new ways to halt the pandemic that has killed 30 million people since the mid-80s. Virologist Gerald Voss is coordinating a team of genetic engineers from Belgium, France and the United Kingdom. Their aim is to develop a vaccine against HIV. In the developed world, so-called antiretroviral treatments have reduced both the mortality and the morbidity of HIV infection. But the aim of the team is to create a vaccine, not to relieve symptoms, but to stop the virus entirely.
The idea behind this project is to use these properties of the measles vaccine and transfer these properties to an HIV vaccine. The way this is done is to construct what we call a recombinant measles virus, which carries bits and pieces of HIV.
Using the modern techniques of genetic engineering, parts of the HIV virus are extracted and inserted into the measles or rubeola virus. This changes its genetic code, as well as its hull structure, so that it can be recognized by the immune system. The so-called recombinant measles virus could be used as a vector to create a vaccine against both diseases, rubeola as well as against the human immunodeficiency virus that leads to AIDS. Gerald Voss and his team hope that their approach in the EU-funded project will lead to an easy-to-use and eventually relatively cheap vaccine for worldwide distribution.
Alors tout ça, évidemment, c'est en admettant qu'on prenne une décision relativement vite, parce que comme on compte, moi pas.
Et puis, est-ce qu'il y a des activités critiques?
This vaccine or vaccination, if successful, will create a strong immune response against the HIV parts of the genetic construct, meaning that it will create specific immune cells that are able to recognize the real HIV virus if ever encountered.
But the new vaccine will probably only immunise during childhood and might not help in cases like Carmen's. She has been living with HIV for 5 years and has now found a partner who is not infected. The couple are thinking about having a child together.
Also bei mir fängt es schon morgens beim Aufstehen an. It starts in the morning after getting up. When I brush my teeth, do I give my partner a long kiss? Probably not, due to gum bleeding. The daily routine in the bathroom, taking a shower or bath or eating from the same plate, that's absolutely no problem. Where you have to pay attention is during sex, blood-to-blood contact, during pregnancy, and when you're breastfeeding.
Oder aber in der Schwangerschaft, einem Säugling, wenn man ihn stillt.
Having children is not out of reach for HIV-positive women like Carmen, if precautions are taken. At the same time, Dorothea van Leer and her team at the University of Frankfurt are working hard to help patients like Carmen with a promising new treatment. They have developed an innovative technique against the virus that may not only help to protect against an infection, but could also improve the treatment of infected persons like Carmen. Their key technology is the use of so-called aptamers, tiny pieces of genetic code from the human cell.
Aptamers are a fairly new group of medications. They're based on nucleic acid, the same material that our genes and our genetic information are made from. These nucleic acids have the ability to fold themselves in a very specific way and to lock onto certain targets. And in our case, the target structure is on the AIDS virus.
Together with teams in France and Britain, her team are searching for those pieces of aptamer particles that stick best to the surface proteins of the HIV virus in order to block them. But finding the right aptamers among millions of possible combinations is like searching for a needle in a haystack. Aptamers can prevent HIV virus from docking with human cells without triggering resistance or side effects. Aptamers could either be used as a means of prevention or as a therapy to block the spread of the HIV virus inside the body.
Immune cells are going to be taken from the patient's body and will be changed genetically so that cells will be protected against HIV. Then they're reinserted back into the body of the patient. There they can be active immunologically and reconstruct the immune system without being attacked by the immune defense.
First trials with different vaccines showed promising results, but Carmen knows that a treatment is still years down the road.
Of course, I'd be pleased if a cure could be found for the disease. But to me, this seems quite unlikely that this is going to happen in the next couple of years. Maybe it will work to stop HIV from spreading further inside the body. But I don't think an absolute cure will be found anytime soon.
Carmen
tries hard not to descend into depression. She frequently tells her story, reinforcing the lesson that safe sex is one sure way to prevent AIDS.